Okay, this video is going to review how to find the volume of a figure. So if you remember, volume just means the space it takes to, a 3D space. So for example, this is a rectangular prism. If I were to fill this prism with, let's say, rice, the space inside this shape is a 3D space, and we call that the volume. Okay, so volume is a 3D space. For this year, not forever, but for this year, there are only two types of shapes you're going to need to find the volume of. Okay? If I look at my reference chart, it has volume of a prism and of a pyramid. And that is it. So hopefully you've already watched the composite figures video. If not, I'm going to kind of refer to it a little bit. But with composite figures, to find the area, so this is your 2D space, right? This is all 2D or flat. Then you would find the area of that. For volume, we're talking about a 3D space, okay? So we're taking those flat rectangles, making them 3D, right, coming off the page, and we're talking about the volume, the space inside. Finding the area of these shapes is like the first step, and then you use that area to find the volume, okay? So you have to have this skill of finding an area of a flat shape in order to find volume. So if you're worried about finding areas of triangles and rectangles, to be specific, if you're worried about finding areas of those two shapes, you need to review the composite figures video or review how to find the area of these before moving on to volume. All right? So now that's out of the way, we're going to talk about volume. Again, we talked about how there's two shapes, prisms and pyramids. And just like up here, you need to recognize, oh, this is a parallelogram, I'm going to use this formula. Well, you need to recognize this is a prism. When do I have a prism? So that you use the correct formula. Okay? So a real quick review. We talked about this in class. This is like one of those Velveeta holders, right? So here's a rectangular prism. This is a prism. It has parallel sides. Let me zoom out a little more. That's as far as it goes. Okay. So you have two parallel sides. I could use these sides as the parallel sides. If this had a top to it, those sides are also parallel. This is a prism. Okay? We talked about, this is a prism as well. Let me see so you can see it. A lot of times you'll see it maybe as a ramp. So if you think of this as like a ramp, right? If I were to lay it down like this, that would be a ramp. Okay? There are parallel sides. None of these rectangles are parallel. But these two triangles, if I put my hands there, you can see those are parallel sides. Not to be confused with a pyramid. If I have a pyramid, there are no parallel faces. I keep saying sides. Parallel faces. Okay, if I look here, right, they all come up to one point. None of these sides are parallel, and the bottom of it doesn't have a parallel side. It just doesn't exist. Okay, so this is a pyramid. We call it a triangular pyramid because the base of it is a triangle. We call this a triangular prism because those parallel sides, those bases, right, the parallel sides of the bases are triangles. So it is a triangular prism. This is a rectangular prism because the parallel sides are rectangles. Even though it looks like a square, these squares are also a special kind of rectangle. So main thing, prisms have parallel faces or sides of that 3D shape. So to find volume, really, you just need to be really comfortable with the formula. So I'm going to give you an example. We're going to start with a rectangular prism. Okay, let's pretend this is a shoebox. And I want to know the volume of this shoebox because I want to fill it with tissue paper, every square inch of it. So this is, let's say, 5 inches. And I'm going to keep the numbers really friendly in this video so you can get the concept. Just know a lot of times these will be decimals and fractions, okay? I need to find the volume of this shape. Well, I look at my star chart. I know it is a prism. There's parallel sides, right? I can picture a shoebox in my head. There's parallel sides. And I see my formula is volume equals, notice it's capital B, H. So whenever I see capital B, I say area of the base. So you need to pick the base. And honestly, guys, what I would do is I would always use, in these pictures, just keep it easy on yourself. If it doesn't tell you which side is the base, I would use this bottom as the base. Because notice it does have a parallel side up here. So I'm going to shade the base, and this is the way that I kind of do it. I'm going to shade the base. I'm going to draw the base separately. What shape is that base? It's a rectangle. The length or the base of that is 5. The height or the length of that is 3. So I shade the base. I draw the base separately, right? This is big B. I circle the height of the prism or the pyramid. If this is the base, the height is going to be 90 degrees to the base. So this is your height. And I'm going to write a little h by it because I want to remember that's height. So we kind of talked about the silly thing in class. You shade the base, you draw the base, you circle the height, oh, because you write the word O. All right? Once you have that set up, you have your formula, you shade the base, draw the base, circle the height of the prism or the pyramid, you're ready to go. Formula, substitution. Big B is area of the base, so I need to find the area of this. I know 3 times 5 is 15. Okay, you could also go even farther and say, okay, well, this is a rectangle, so base times height, 5 times 3, 15. Sometimes you'll see this as big B because area of that base is big B. It doesn't matter. The area of this is 15. So this little section right here, I call it like side work. You're having to do some work so you know what to plug in. Area of the base, you did all this work to figure out the area of that base, and you substitute it in. That is why I said you need to make sure you know these 2D areas first. You're going to use this to find volume. All right? So area of the base, or capital B, is 15. Height, we circled it so we don't forget. Remember, this is the height of the prism, not of this base. The height of the prism is 2. So volume is going to be 30 inches, and it's 3D, so we put the little 3. So inches cubed, or cubed inches. Inches cubed. Okay? That is the volume of that. All right. You can substitute any numbers in here if you wanted to try it on your own. All right. You're going to see it's the exact same process if I have a triangular prism. Still a prism. So let's say this is a ramp, okay? It's a really steep ramp. But let's say it's a ramp. Or it's the wedge. It's the door wedge in my classroom. All right. Be very, very careful. This is a prism. I see there's 2 parallel sides. Okay, if you need to see the 3D shape, here it is. You have 2 parallel sides. Those are your bases. So I know this is a prism. You have to recognize that is not a pyramid. It has parallel sides. It is a prism. So I'm going to use this formula. Volume equals area of the base, or capital B, times height. All right? Then we're going to do the same thing. We're going to shade the base, and I don't care which base you choose. You're going to draw the base. You're going to circle the height, which would be right here. So let's say the height is 5. You're going to circle the height. Oh. All right? In order to find the volume, I have to give you this length right here, or at least, 2 of these lengths. But I'm going to give you this base is, again, I'm going to keep the numbers really friendly, 2 inches. And I have to give you the height of this base because we got to be able to find the area of this triangle. All right? Remember, the height of a triangle is 90 degrees to the base. So I'm going to call this 4 inches. I know it's not the scale. All right. So when I shade the base, and I'm going to draw the base a little better than that. I draw the base. This is 2 inches and this is 4. I know it's not the scale. Okay? I'm going to circle the height O. Now I'm ready to go. So here's my formula. Substitution, area of the base. Well, I got to do some side work. I got to find the area of this base. It is a triangle. Area of that triangle, so I look at my reference chart. Area equals 1/2 base times height.
Lauren Reyna, please come to the front office. Lauren Reyna.
Okay, 1/2. The base is 2. The height is 4. Okay. I'm just going to do these whole numbers first. 2 times 4 I know is 8. Half of that is 4. So my area is, or big B is 4. Now the height, I have it circled so I didn't forget about it, is 5. So volume of this picture is going to be, or this ramp, or this door, stop, whatever you want to think about it, 20 inches cubed. Okay? You're going to do almost the same thing for pyramids, except you're going to see your formula is a little bit different. So if I look at my formula chart, a prism is area of the base times height. A pyramid is 1/3 area of the base times height. So basically I'm doing the same thing, and then I got to remember, I got to divide by 3. We talked about in class how if we filled this up with rice, we saw that only 1/3 of it fit into the pyramid, or 3 pyramids, if they have the same base, fit into the prism. Okay, so we've learned about why that's true, but at this point we just need to know, hey, prism, base times height, area of the base times height. For a pyramid, it's area of the base times height, but then we got to divide it by 3. All right, so I'm going to do an example, and I think the most complicated shape we're going to see is a triangular pyramid. So let me sketch one for you real fast. Let's say that this is 5, this is 8 of the base, and then the entire height of that pyramid, and sometimes you'll see this drawn in the middle of the pyramid, sometimes off to the side we'll say is 10. And we're just going to say everything's in inches, okay? So I need to recognize this is a pyramid. There are no parallel faces, so I know it's a pyramid. So volume of a pyramid is 1/3 area of the base times height. I look at my reference chart. Pyramid, 1/3 area of the base times height. Okay? So I'm going to shade the base. I'm going to draw the base separately over here. Okay? I'm going to circle the height O. So I labeled it with an H for height. Now I'm ready to go. There's my formula. Substitution, 1/3. I don't want to forget about it. That's a constant, right? That's going to stay there. Big B means area of the base. So I'm going to have to do some side work over here to find the area of my base. It is a triangle, so I know to find the area of that, it's going to be 1/2 base times height. I'm getting that from my star chart or my reference chart. Area of a triangle is 1/2 base times height. Okay, I'm going to use big B. I could say this is area. They're the same thing. Big B is area of the base. All right, I'm going to substitute in. The base of this shape is 5. The height, it is 90 degrees to the base, right? So this is my height, is 8. Okay, I'm going to multiply the whole numbers first. It's just easier. It's 40. Half of 40 is 20. There's other ways you could do that, but I'm going to do that for just to make it easier. So I know the area of this base, big B, or area of the base, is 20. So now I'm ready to substitute that in for 20. So big B is 20 times the height. Whoop, I already circled it on my picture. The height of the pyramid is 10. So then I'm going to solve it. I'm going to multiply these whole numbers first. I'm going to leave that fraction till the end. 20 times 10, you could write it out, but I'll tell you is 200. And then you need to multiply that by 1/3, which is the same as dividing by 3. Okay? So I'm going to do 200 divided by 3 to find my answer. 6 times 3 is 18. 18. Okay. You could say this is 66 2/3, or you could say, okay, well, I'm going to add a decimal and a 0. 3 goes into 20 6 times, and that's going to repeat forever and ever and ever. So the volume of this is 66 and 6 repeating inches cubed, or you need to know 6 repeating is 2/3, so 66 and 2/3 inches cubed. Okay, that's the most complicated volume that you will see. Only volume you're going to see, guys, is volume of a rectangular prism, which we did, volume of a triangular prism, which we did, volume of a triangular pyramid, which we did, and then you can find the volume of a rectangular pyramid, which we did not do, but I know you can do it. It is a pyramid, so it's 1/3 times area of the base times height. You would plug in like normal. This one's actually a little easier. I think finding the area of a rectangle is easier than finding area of a triangle. What do you think? All right, so that's all your volume. Those 4 shapes are what you need to be familiar with and comfortable with. Don't forget, big B is area of the base.